he violated policy. The chief made a decision that he no longer needs to work here.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Since we've started out the year with getting some updates and some new information on some big stories from 2024, we'll have a quick look at this one with any new information and answer some questions about it, and we'll clear up a couple of things. Some of them mind-boggling. But this video comes to us from the Deland Police Department in Florida. This police car is being driven recklessly by now former officer Chris Renda. Most of you probably already saw this, because as of the making of this video, well over 750,000 people have seen it. This is the dash cam that the Deland Police Department said did not exist for 6 months. They had even put it in writing that this video didn't exist by saying there must have been a problem with the cables and the video just didn't record. We had some inside information that it did exist and it was bad, and we fought and pushed for it, and here we go. We finally got it after 6 months. Now first I'll start off with this. In the initial video, I said that there was music playing inside this police car, some of it very strange, so I couldn't play the audio. A few people complained, demanded that I include the audio, mad that I didn't include the audio. They wanted to hear the music themselves. Some even complained that I talked over the whole video. But like I said, I could not play the audio, and I spoke over the video to kind of explain what's going on, and because a totally silent video seems pretty dull to me. Now I realize a lot of people might not understand, but YouTube and many other platforms have guidelines, and we cannot play copyrighted music that we do not have the rights to, and there are penalties for us if we do. So coming to me and saying, hey, so what, just play the audio anyway, is like me coming to you if you own your own landscaping company and I'm like, hey, put your riding lawnmower in the ocean because I want to see what happens, because that would have negative impacts on you. Most of you get it, I know, that's just for a few. And what I meant by odd or strange was the little clip of audio you did hear in the beginning of this video. It was weird to hear in a police car, and the timing of it was really weird, I thought. And I'm talking about this little clip right here. So the timing of that particular thing to start playing right when he takes off on this reckless journey, I thought was super ironic. But then it turns into some weird techno dance something, and then there's other similar music playing after that. And it was just odd, but now you know why I didn't and couldn't play the audio. Now there were some update videos on this incident, but not everybody's seen them. I still see a lot of the questions asked in this initial video, the original reckless cop video. So I'll give you some of the updates here, and then we'll go over a couple of other viewer questions and comments that had me baffled. So if you remember, former officer Chris Renda, who was in his 1 year of probation, initially got a written reprimand for the reckless driving, the hit and run, and the lying about the hit and run that we saw in this video. He was not charged, he was not cited. The crash was investigated by the Florida Highway Patrol, who at the time were told no video exists. So they didn't see this video when they decided initially not to cite him. As you know, after we got the video and you saw it, at the exact same time, 6 months after the incident that they gave me this video, they also terminated Chris Renda. And he was fired for this incident, which he'd already received a written reprimand for. But 6 months later, when I got this video and they knew that all of you were about to see this video and probably be outraged, they decided to fire him. I later spoke with a captain, which is seen in another video, who confirmed that he was terminated for this incident because of what was seen in this video. He agreed that this is the worst example of emergency response driving he had ever seen. He said it was reckless, he said it was terrible driving, and he was terminated for violating policy in reference to this incident. Now, when an officer leaves a department for any reason, fired, retired, quit, whatever, that department has to submit a CJSTC Form 61 to the state. There's a bunch of check boxes on there. The department has to let the state know what happened, why is he leaving. They specifically want to know if this departure has anything to do with policy violations, because it's information like this that the state uses to decide whether or not officers should keep their certificates, still be allowed to be a cop elsewhere, etc. But in this case, the Deland Police Department decided to do Renda a solid. They put on that form that he just didn't finish training. That's all. No policy violations or anything like that. So a form like that helps a bad cop go elsewhere to be a bad cop. This is a tactic used, we've seen many times, and it's part of that blue line. Like, hey man, you can't stay here because unfortunately people found out about it, but we're going to help you out so you can go do it again somewhere else. That's an example of what that thin blue line really is all about. So 100% the Deland Police Department lied to the state. And that can be fully verified and confirmed with even just my own videos that can be seen in the Deland Police Department playlist. They admit what he was fired for and why. So why would they tell the state something else?
One thing I can tell you is his driving was terrible. That wasn't his first time, and he was let go.
Yeah, it wasn't his first time. That's probably the worst display of emergency response driving I've ever seen.
Yeah, I agree with you.
But he had initially only received a written reprimand because they said there was no video.
I can't answer to that.
Yeah.
I wasn't involved in that process. But I can tell you that when the chief got a chance to review that, the chief made a decision to terminate his employment, which I support his decision.
I think everybody supports that decision. But my only issue is, and just looking at it logically, it seems, it appears that the decision was made not because that video exists, but because people are about to see that video.
No, it was made because he violated policy.
Right, but
the chief saw that video, and the chief made a decision that he no longer needs to work here.
Yeah, he did violate policy. He got a written reprimand for it, but then when the video came out, he was terminated for it. So he kind of got double discipline for it in that case, right? I'm just saying, regardless of anything, the timing of the two are super odd.
The video was terrible. He don't need the employee had to be released because of it, and we did the right thing.
That was Captain Dice there, who said, hey, we did the right thing. Well, maybe you did some of the right thing eventually, kind of when you were pushed to it. The question remains, why did it take the chief of police, Jason Umberger, 6 months to look at that video that they alleged didn't exist? While not long before that incident, Renda had another at-fault on-duty crash where he totaled a police car and a victim citizen's car when he rear-ended them. He was allowed to continue, and then we saw the incident that we saw in this video. And then he was allowed to continue for 6 more months. And I firmly believe it only stopped because the incident reached we the people. Now, I'm convinced you can put out a video of a cop doing any ridiculous thing. They could be doing the most horrible things on video, and there will still be people that come to their defense. And this case was no different. Here and there, you saw comments similar to this one. People were like, I was a cop for this many years, or a firefighter, or EMT, or whatever type of emergency vehicle driver I used to be, and he ain't done nothing wrong, dang it. This is just regular. No, blasting through red lights and school zones, active school zones, 4-way stops, without stopping or slowing to make sure it's safe, to make sure you're not going to take out anybody else, innocent bystanders. That's not regular. That's not routine. That's not policy. That's not okay. This is absolutely not how it's done, and this is not how they are trained. Yet people still defend him. He didn't violate any policy. He didn't do anything wrong. It's the other people that need to watch out for him. Someone even blamed the owner of the parked car for the crash because it shouldn't have been parked there. Come on, it was legally parked off the side of the road. And what, if that was a mother and her children standing there in the grass, they would have been to blame too? That's nonsense. But to all those people who said he didn't do anything wrong, you just heard his captain agree that he did everything wrong. But that shows you the mentality of some of the people in positions like this. They literally look at this and say, yeah, this is fine, nothing wrong with this. You just saw that school zone blown through again. But is it not scary that people see this and say, I do this too, or I used to do this too before I retired or whatever? Look at that truck, almost took out that truck. That's not normal. So that means these people do this or did this, and it's common practice. Scary stuff. Putting you and I at risk, like Arkansas State Police. Maybe Renda can go work for them. He'd definitely fit in perfectly there. But thanks to the Deland lying for him, he may appear somewhere. And now, if any of you can help me out with comments like this one. What are people thinking? People are so quick to try to be the expert on something they know nothing about. This commenter is saying, yeah, the cop was wrong, but hey, you're blowing this out of proportion. You're trying to make it sound like he blew through a school zone. You're trying to make it seem like that school zone was a school zone. This one makes the point several times that a crosswalk sign does not mean school zone. This comment blew my mind. I think I said aloud, WTF? You clearly watched the video because you're commenting on the video. So he's saying that I saw somewhere a crosswalk sign, and from that I fictitiously turned it into a school zone. So let's take a look at a clip from the actual video, the original video that comment was made on. Here comes the active school zone. And yes, it applies to the police too. He knows the area, but our first indication of a school zone is this sign right here. Yet he's going to remain reckless and weave in between these two vehicles as he enters this active school zone. Further proof that it's an active school zone, if we slow this down and look closely, you can see the yellow light flashing on the 20-mile-an-hour speed limit sign for the school zone that he seems to be ignoring. But if that wasn't enough, here's one of the cones in the middle of the road, as one of many things that are always in place in a school zone to let people know, let the drivers know, that they need to slow down, that kids are in the area and will be crossing the street. But wait, there's more. If we look over here, we can see the crossing guard, showing that all of the school zone indications are in place, as this cop blasts through this school zone. I'm sure many people will find this angering, as he shows absolutely no regard for the public or even the children. But he's speeding to another scenario where he got insanely lucky. So that clip was unedited from the original video. That was the original audio, the video, the still shots, my commentary, the on-screen arrows and indicators pointing out things that indicate it's a school zone. That's all cut from the original video. I didn't alter that just now for this, to make this point. That's from the original video. But somehow, still somebody got that. I have no idea. I think most of you probably fully understand that was a school zone, that is a school zone. We are all fully aware how to identify a school zone if we are drivers. So I don't know, all these strange experts pop up. You know, the same with being told, I clearly don't know anything about emergency driving. Obviously, I've never done that before. Well, I have, so I've had the same training, and I assure you, what we see displayed by Renda in this video is not how they train. Well, these comments, I mean, they're a very small minority. You look through there's a lot of different cops and firefighters, EMTs, all sorts of emergency personnel commenting and saying, wow, that's insane. I've never seen anything that bad. So don't lose faith in humanity. That is not a reflection of most people. Now, faith in our public servants, our government agencies, well, that's a different story. Yeah, we have cases like this where a department tries pretty hard to hide it from the public, cover it up, they lie about it. And when we don't give up, we don't back down, well, then they just lie for the officer to help him get a job somewhere else. What's unfortunate is the reason they don't like me, the administration at the Deland Police Department doesn't like me, is because of what you saw with Captain Dice. That video, that's a good example. He spoke truth to me. Some truth to me, to be clear. And because that truth contradicted their actions, we've revealed deception. We proved they're not being truthful with the people or with the state, even other agencies. This is why they refuse to speak to me. This is why they've trespassed me from their own police department, because they're afraid of what they may say, what they may do. They're afraid their stories won't match up, and we, the people, will find the truth.